Boys, welcome. Do you wanna be a sim drifter? Well, you are in luck because today we're gonna be talking about 5 huge tips to start your sim drifting journey. Number 1, don't cheap out on the equipment. So you're gonna be thinking a wheel is a wheel. The worst thing is you can't really feel the difference when you buy one. I did that same mistake as well. Please keep in mind you're gonna have your initial setup for a very long time, maybe even years. This is not the time to cheap out. It is better to wait and save up more so you can get a better sim gear instead, or get a used setup to save money, you know, from eBay or Amazon. You're gonna be touching and feeling your sim setup every time you drift. You don't want it to feel horrible and cheap. Another important factor when buying a wheel is the force feedback. Now, from cheapest to pricier, they go like this: gear engine, belt engine, and direct drive wheels. Now there's some hybrids as well and whatnot, but typically those 3 options. My first wheel, boys, was a Logitech steering wheel. That's a Logitech G29. I don't know if you can, let me put it here. There we go. That's a Logitech. Oh my goodness. This Logitech wheel has a gear engine, by the way, which is super loud and shaky. I did swap the steering wheel with a deep dish wheel, but I don't recommend you to do that because you will lose a lot of force feedback. There's an adapter in between the wheel and the G29. This white thing there, which can easily break, as it happened while I was recording one time as well. Here's the video of that. My second wheel, however, is a Thrustmaster T300 RS GT. This has a belt engine. The force feedback is much stronger, smoother, and it's way more quiet as well. And it's not that much more expensive than G29. Now, you could also get a direct drive wheel, which is very expensive, but insanely good force feedback. Just don't stick your hand into the direct drive wheel. You might lose a hand, okay? By the way, you definitely need 3 pedals, okay? It feels nice to clutch kick a low horsepower car. You do need the clutch. Now, unlike sim racing, in drifting, you also need a handbrake. You can get a proper handbrake from Thrustmaster, Fanatec, and so on, or get like a significantly cheaper one from eBay, like that one. Guys, I had an eBay handbrake as well. Even comes with a clamp, so you can put it on your table. So the eBay handbrake is a decent alternative to those expensive handbrakes. Also, it works with any sim setup since it uses a USB, but you can only use eBay handbrake on PC. Number 2, be patient when learning. Sim drifting will always be harder than you imagined it. We see these pro drifters throwing down insane reverse entries and it looks so easy, almost as if no effort has been put into it. Keep in mind, they do crash as well. It's never the first attempt that you see in YouTube videos. You can't just load in a new drift rack and just full send it. First, you gotta do many laps to get the feel for every corner. Each lap you will be pushing yourself a little further. Even if you have like real life drifting experience, sim drifting is way different. For me personally, in Assetto Corsa, it took me 2 weeks until I could regularly connect the whole map, but my god, it felt good. At one point, it would just click and your instincts will take over. In fact, it was so hard at first that I wanted to sell my sim setup and give up. I'm glad I didn't, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video, right? What helps at first is obviously getting proper wheel settings. Now, it won't change a lot, but it will slightly help. So just go into YouTube, search Assetto Corsa G29 steering wheel settings or whichever wheel you have and copy the settings. But you can also drift with default settings. Another tip for beginners is lowering wheel rotation. It is a very good tip so you could focus on your footwork, handbrake, and lines instead. I would suggest using 540 degrees at first and then going up from there if you can like successfully connect couple of corners. Number 3, pick the correct game. Guys, each game has different physics and features. It is ultimately up to you. Up to you. If you want to spend less time learning and more time drifting, pick a game with arcade or sim arcade physics. If your goal is to simulate real life drifting, pick games that are focused on car physics instead. Although in those games you won't do much drifting the first couple of weeks. For example, CarX is a really fun drift game. It has arcade physics, but it's one of my most favorite drift games. It's just chill. So CarX is definitely easier than Assetto Corsa. Assetto Corsa is a pure simulation game. A nice balance difference between simulator and arcade is sim arcade. For example, Forza Horizon 5. You definitely will learn how to sim drift in Forza Horizon 5, but it's a lot more simplified than in Assetto Corsa. Now, if mods is something that's very important to you, then keep in mind CarX and Assetto Corsa do have mod support, but Forza games don't support mods. I also made a completely separate video of my top 5 drift games. If you want to see that video, I will link that into the description. Number 4. Record your progress. Even when you don't do YouTube videos, which you should, by the way. Listen, I can make a whole YouTube video about how to become a sim drifting YouTuber. If you want that, let me know in the comments, I'll do it. Anyway, record your progress from day one. You can use OBS software, for example. It's free. Plenty of YouTube tutorials out there to help you set that up. And the thing is, when you start learning, you will feel like you're not advancing at all. I felt that at first, because there is no big progress. You won't feel a big leap in your skills. Every day you practice feels the same. You are still struggling to drift, right? But after a couple of days, when you look back to your first day's recordings, I promise you, you will definitely see a lot of improvement. So this way you can stay motivated to not give up on practicing. Now, when you record, you might as well upload to YouTube as well and do those silly TikToks that the kids do nowadays. There's a lot of people who are starting and struggling with drifting as well, so don't be ashamed to upload that. You'll maybe even get like some helpful tips in the comments under your videos, who knows? Plus, you're practicing on making drifting videos, right? So if you later on decide to become a full-time sim drifting YouTuber, you already know how to do these videos. Number 5. Mods. Now, if you pick the game that supports mods, then listen up, and I won't lie, I did that mistake as well when I started sim drifting. In Assetto Corsa, for example, you will be tempted to use easily driftable mods with high power and unrealistic easy physics. Don't get used to those easy mods. Get mods with good physics from day one. Otherwise, you will get used to the unrealistic physics, and later on, it will be so difficult to relearn how to drift with proper mods. Handle Buddies is an example of a mod you should not use. Unrealistic easy. WDTS is an example of a mod you should use instead. Don't go the easy route. If you're using arcade game like CarX, then mods make no real difference to physics. Now, if you're on console, you sadly can't use mods, so I wouldn't recommend Assetto Corsa for console players, okay? There's other good games for consoles like Gran Turismo Sport and Forza Motorsport, for example. Number 6. Sub to Goose. It is scientifically proven that if you subscribe, you will become pro in no time. Guys, subscribe and drop a like, and as always, stay sideways. Peace!